Namaste. Coming into some basic principles of Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior I. When I'm working with beginners, the most common expression of Warrior I that I would take from a standing position is to begin at the top of the mat, with the feet about the width of the hips, where they can take a confident step back into the posture. You will organically feel, or you will notice in other people, that most people, when they take that step back, the back foot turns out into a slight angle. You can always direct people to turn the foot out slightly so the front foot is straight forward, back foot is slightly turned out. An important little quality to notice is that they will have more stability if the feet are at least the width of the hips in any of these postures that come into this straight pelvis forward, shoulder forward position, as opposed to aligning the feet one on top of the other or one right behind the other, because balance can be compromised. So consider having people begin about the width of their hips, a confident step back, noticing that the feet are about the width of the hips. Back foot slightly turned out. For Warrior I, for a beginner, we would stand here, feel the inward upward lift at the navel, the upward outward lift at the heart, freedom here and the space underneath the chin and the chest. Maybe start with the hands at the hips, so they can feel the integrity of aligning that front foot in the direction of the big toe, second toe. Here. And then, of course, we can add the element of arms coming up and overhead. And as we talked about, one of the challenges in such a pose as this is the length of the acromion process. And the point of quickest compression in most people is when the thumb is coming forward. And it becomes easier when they can go around the point of the tip of the acromion process. So for some people, Warrior I will be quite comfortable up here next to their ears. And other people, this can be a great deal of pressure. So encourage your students and yourself to feel, is your Warrior I here in confidence? Or does it align next to the ears? I'll show this to you from the side angle. A confident step back. Back foot turns at a slight angle. Feet are about the width of the pelvis. Heart and hips are shining to the wall space in front. We can inhale, exhale down into the front leg, and inhale, arms reach up and overhead. Virabhadrasana 1 from a gentle stance. Now most of us come into Virabhadrasana 1 in the form of vinyasa. So from vinyasa, it's a whole different ballgame. Now remember that one of the things that can hinder Warrior I position is the angle of the back ankle. So for those people who, when they want to come down to squat and they can't go down because they're hitting compression on the front side of their ankle, or they need to lift up their heels to come in, when coming into Warrior I, that back ankle is an issue when the heel is down. So for instance, if you're taking Warrior I from a standing posture, you can see the degree that the ankle has to be able to accommodate in order to take an active stand such as this. So from vinyasa, we often take Warrior I from a downward dog position. Possibly a kickback begins it. As we step the foot forward and place the heel underneath the knee. Back foot would turn to pivot so that the heel comes down but the foot is at an angle. Squaring the pelvis towards the ground to the best of one's ability, and then lifting up so the pelvis is taking its organic nature, but we can bring the shoulders to square to the wall space in front. Inhale up to Warrior I. Again, notice this back ankle. It's quite the compression. So for some people this is accessible, and for other people we allow them to come in into basically Anjani Asana, the high lunge, onto the back toes. But as you see, that's a whole different expression into the femur bone that's behind you. So from Warrior One here, this is a slight external rotation of the femur bone. So we get into the inner groin even as we rise up to Warrior One. If we build this Warrior One from an Anjaneyasana position, high lunge, then we turn the pelvis, it's down, the femur bone is internally rotated or actually just in a state of extension, and rise up. Aspects of Warrior One.